What's up, people? It's me, Jeremy. I just wanted to give you an update. I'm on week 1 of planting my straw bales and getting my little garden set up. Recently made this sign, a little wood burning sign, to explain what's going on here. Put in a few little garden things, little ornaments to cuten up the place a little bit. I'll show you what's going on. This is my first little installment here of old used straw bales, and I've got some tea bags in there and some carrot pulp and apple pulp and other things that came out of my juicer, and that'll all help feed the soil there and compost everything down. The peas seem to be coming up real fast. Got some bush beans growing in there, a couple other little things. Got some Swiss chard actually started in my indoor seed starting station, and I'll be putting those in there soon. This tomato plant is looking really healthy right here. I'm not sure whether these are just dandelion weeds or radish. I hope that it's food, but if it's not, I'll just leave it and maybe plant over it, plant some other things that'll cover crops. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on in there. There's some little cherry tomato plants that are coming through in the middle there. Got my greens section. All the lettuce seed that I planted over here on the side is just thriving and reaching the top, just like this other stuff is. Looks like the kale's taken a little bit of a hit. It's got a bunch of little holes in it. But things are looking great over here. I'll show you my little herb garden in the towers. Got a whole bunch of little sprouts coming up. I'm not sure if you can see that. There we go. Some cilantro all the way around. Seems to do better on the back side with the evening sun. So my positioning may not be right on these things on the entire garden, but stuff is mostly coming up. The parsley's a little slow, but there's signs of life in there. Coming up pretty slow. There's another little one in there. The thyme's looking good. Sorry, the light is crazy right now. It's morning light and got those long shadows. The thyme's looking good. My garlic chives are looking pretty good. They're coming up pretty fast. Moving over here. No lavender yet. I don't even know if it'll come up, but we'll just give it some time. Italian oregano. Got sprouts all the way around there. Some dill starting to show up. Looking good there. This one's still empty. I don't know. I gotta go get some basil seeds or something to put in there. Even my sage is starting to pop up, which makes me happy. It's very nice. Maybe I'll have some sage to smudge in our home. A little bit of info for you guys. We're selling our home. We put it on the market. So whoever buys it, hopefully they'll enjoy fresh food and gardening. It's kind of a self-sustaining thing and easy to give instructions for somebody to take care of this. So all this work I did is probably going to go to benefit someone else. But I'm happy about that. You know, if I can encourage others to grow food, I will, and that's what I've been trying to do this whole time, as well as learn the methods needed. These tomatoes here in the straw bale are looking awesome. There's a few white beans planted on the ends to climb up in the middle and towards the other end over there. So all my tomatoes are looking really healthy. I might have a couple die back. There's one in the middle there. I might just need to be propped up. Let's see if we can do that here. That stem looks a little bit broken, but if I just put some soil around that, it might mend itself up because the roots are still strong in these things. Lots of grass growing out of this, but I'm not really concerned. It's not hurting the tomato. If you look there, it's still doing well, but you know, nothing really interferes. Like I've been learning, You know, nature does its own thing. It survives regardless and adapts and overcomes. So everything's looking awesome. Really excited about this. If for some reason we don't sell our house, the market's good right now. Quickly. Maybe we'll be here for a while. We listed it kind of high, but we're hopeful that we'll get some good offers. And maybe I'll be here long enough to reap the rewards of harvesting from here. But if not, like I said, I'm just providing fresh foods for somebody else, and they can be equally impressed and maybe continue this method throughout the yard and learn from it as I have. So everything's looking really, really, really healthy. I'm really happy about this. All these potato plants are excellent. I've got a few more of these white beans surrounding. And I'll just let them hang over, do their own thing, climb up this little trellis if they need to. Looking really, really good. So yeah, this is my 2018 garden. I planted a few flowers and stuff on the border here. I've got some mammoth, the giant sunflowers that are coming up really fast in some starter trays, and I'll be putting those throughout here. A few different varieties of those. I did plant some flower seed along the edges and a few other things within the wood chip pile here, and just going to let that go and see what takes and what doesn't. It's not composted down yet, so it's really not fertile enough for anything to grow, but like this pumpkin, for example, is just looking really good in there. So it's definitely a sustainable way to grow food, and very productive and obviously healthy. And I don't spray this, I don't fertilize this. It's all organic nutrients and good amendments to the soil and repurposed straw, which is almost free. And if you live in a very rural area, you probably could find it for free. And it does make great soil. And just adding your food scraps and composting, creating a live compost for all the little creatures and nematodes and stuff to get in there and create rooting systems and fungus layer, mycorrhizal layer. It all is very supportive of itself, and doing things this way is the winning way. So that's my week 1 update. I did plant these not from seed this time. I started them in seed indoors when it was still cold, and put them out here when they were ready to be transplanted at the end of my bale conditioning. And now everything's reaching for the sun, and it won't be long before it starts to climb up this big trellis here, cattle panel. And there's going to be a whole ton of food growing on this thing. Whether I'm here to see it or not doesn't really matter, because our plans involve doing this on a huge scale eventually, and taking the earnings from our home and trying to get off the grid and be as sustainable as possible and live for as free as possible. And this is a big part of that. Growing your own food, there's very little effort or input that goes into it. And the thing I'm learning about permaculture, I've been watching some Bill Mollison Master Permaculture Design course videos, and he says it himself, you know, the design, there's really no method, right way to do things. You know, design is very subjective to the user, and creating a good design has a lot of variables. And one of those variables is how you do it. And I think the thing that I'm learning most about permaculture, the word permaculture itself, doesn't just involve vegetable gardening or growing anything for that matter, or designing a setup. It's really creating a design that has more output than input. So it basically produces more energy than what's put into it. And it sustains itself, so it continues like that. Although a lot of these food plants in here are, just annuals, you can involve different things like perennials and stuff that come back year after year, stronger and harder and more mature. Your food tastes better. It's got more water inside of it, and nutrients and stuff that our bodies need to thrive. And when you cut out the chemicals and you cut out the interference with nature and instead become a steward to nature, nature takes care of you and takes care of itself. So permaculture essentially is trying to mimic nature and create systems that just flow with the ebb and flow of nature, and you shouldn't have to do much work after the initial process. So that's my little rant about permaculture and what's happening here for us. We are indeed selling our home after being here about 6 years, and I feel like it's time to go find a place that we can really call home, set down some new roots, maybe do some things that are permaculture related with the design of our homestead. And I don't know where that will be yet, but we'd like something a little bit more climate neutral, where you have actual seasons. Here in Florida, there's only a few seasons. It gets hot, there's hurricanes, and lots of mosquitoes. And you might get lucky and get, one cold week out of a whole year. So I would like to take my knowledge from doing this and apply it into places where there's actual seasons, and when springtime comes around, you've got your seedlings in, and when fall and winter come around, you do all your pruning and your preparations and laying down wood chips and keep building that soil fertility. Plus the snow's nice. Our dogs will love running through it. And yeah, I'm gonna cut this video short as it is. I'm already at 12 minutes, but keep doing what you're doing, people, or try something new. This is my little utopia here. This is my little world. This is why I've changed the name of my channel to the Utopians, because essentially that's how my better half and I like to think about things. A lot of people say that utopia can't exist, it won't exist, it doesn't exist, and I think that's just their opinion. Utopia would exist if it were for humans accepting their flaws and correcting them. And one part of correcting your flaws is saying to yourself, instead of saying, well, I can't grow anything, I don't have a green thumb, everything I grow dies, take a little effort and study other people who are successful, and soon you'll realize that anybody can do it. You can create your own little utopia. You can function without having to report to a 9-to-5 job every day and be another cog in a wheel of a machine that seems to be breaking down pretty quickly. So creating a sustainable food growing environment, as well as the way that you put energy in your home, the way that you expend energy with your driving habits and everything like that, you're only hurting nature and moving away from the utopia we could all experience. So that's just my opinion. A lot of people will disagree and say that we need jobs, we need money, we need all this. It's true that we need to work, but work doesn't necessarily mean, being the plow. It means sometimes stepping away from the plow and learning how to produce systems that don't need plowing. They don't need disruption. What they need is nurturing. And this system that I've created here is based on knowledge that I've gotten from other people who have successfully created their own utopias and are still doing so. So this is my little utopia. I hope you all enjoy my videos. Hopefully the new name of the channel will hold true, and I can show you all what utopia really is all about. We're gonna sell our home, get off the grid, have a sustainable place to call home that will be on wheels, and eventually seek out a homestead where we can create even larger systems to not only support us but the community around us. And I think that's what it's all about. So one love, people. I hope to do another update soon, and happy growing out there.